Hello everyone, welcome to the first video on my channel for the FPL 2025-2026 season. I want to go through all the viable forward picks to start off the season. If they don't make this list, they're unfit, they are injured, or there's just too much of an uncertainty surrounding their minutes or even their potential to start. Okay, if I've missed someone, you're welcome to put it in the comments. I don't think I have, though. I think this is a pretty definitive list of all the potential forwards, that sort of viable pool you can pick from for this season. If you're wondering where I've been and my first upload is only a couple of days before the new season, I'll leave personal updates for the end of the video. But I appreciate all of you that have checked in and that have supported me. Here is the list, and I'm going to discuss it before we start. And also, if you're interested in my rank history, it's above. Okay, here is the list. What you've seen here, all this data, I will actually put it up on my Patreon for free to access and download, so you can change the order and sort by whatever you want. Yeah, so it is there. If you have a Patreon free membership, you can just access it for free. I want to discuss the forward sort of bracket as we head into the new season. So, because of the positive changes to the other areas of FPL, i.e. midfielders and defenders, it's meant that the forward bracket is kind of neglected now with regards to the meta. And there is a meta because it is a game. So, I think you should take that into consideration with your picks and your funding. What it means is that since there's less value, you probably are going to have to have at least one cheap pick there and think about your formation more in depth. For me currently, and it might change, I'm definitely not going to be playing free forwards. The game isn't set up meta-wise, point scoring-wise, however you want to categorize it, to accommodate people who want to put a lot of funds into forwards. That's just how it is. On top of that, the changes they've brought in, for those of you who also play the Allsvenskan game, kind of used to them already with a defensive bonus, and forwards in that game, you know, they can get attacking bonus, and yet still they're outscored by defenders. So, what I'm trying to say is curb your expectations for point scoring for forwards, because basically they do have to score goals now, or they're going to be way outshot by the rest of the positions. Okay. So with regards to ball recoveries, defensive bonus, there's no forward in the game. There was one, and he's been changed to midfield and die. Elimin and die, as he says in that video. There's no forwards other than him who's now a midfielder that are worth considering for that. So those points are off the board. You've got to remember as well, forwards get 1 point less per goal versus midfielders and don't get a clean sheet point either. So we are really, really focusing on goals alone because assists are only 3 points. So let's get into it then. I will say as well, I might put a more unfiltered video out where I go through my ordered priority picks from best to worst for attackers and stick it in the Patreon or the YouTube membership, something like that. But I just wanted to put this out for everyone so they could be as informed as possible and make their own decision about the new season. Again, for me, these are the only viable picks in the forward bracket. There's even a few, even today, even over the past few hours, where they've now become not that great a pick. I'm looking at Richarlison because of that Solanke news. But let's start off with Erling Braut Haaland then first. So he is someone who is if he stays fit the entire season, he'll be the top scorer of the forward bracket, right? We have pretty much no doubt of that. But is he going to stay fit the entire season? Not sure. The other thing is his price is too high. People are very apprehensive of being too critical of FPL. But Haaland's price is too high. You can get Salah for $500,000 more, and he gets more points per goal, clean sheet bonus, And that sort of positional bracket is much more versatile than the forward bracket, where you drop down 5 million to the next. You're only dropping down 3.5 or 4 from Salah to Palmer, for example. So, is he worth the money? I think it begs the question of, do you think he'll outscore Salah in those opening game weeks? Because if you do, then he's worth the money. But you can't have both. You could, but your team would look rubbish. So my advice there is to pick one or the other. Salah looks like the meta pick, the smart pick at the minute, but Haaland, because of that, is a massive differential as a captain and as a pick in isolation. But if you pick Haaland, you've got to captain him. You can't be having a 14 million pound forward burning a hole in your pocket that you're not captaining. He also, as you can probably see, and if you also download the spreadsheet as well and sort by everything, you can see he pretty much dominates all the stats across the board here. On top of dominating the stats, he's on penalties. He's going to get 90 minutes, and he's played one of the highest percentages of preseason minutes across the forward bracket. Also, before we get into the rest of the picks too, just to explain all the categories there, you've got goal involvements, that's goals. These are all per 90. And I just want to say as well, I'm not trying to poo-poo anyone else's creations or videos or anything like that. But if they're not doing it per 90, it's pretty much a worthless stat or bit of information. You need it per 90, otherwise it's a bit pointless, right? So whenever you're looking at data when it comes to FPL, it's got to be per 90. Otherwise, what are we doing, right? Okay. Goal involvement is goals and assists per 90 minutes last season. XGI is expected goals and assists per 90 minutes. All per 90 minutes. G is goals per 90 minutes, and then expected goals. Shots on target is SOT. SIB is shots in the box. PAT, Postman Pat, is penalty area touches. Probably one of the least important ones, but there you go. Pens, obviously penalties. PSM percentage is penalty. It's not penalty. It's preseason minutes percentage. And then X-Mins is my Spears, Josh's expected minutes, right? Based upon what I saw last season, based upon preseason too, based upon the new competition. Okay, so that might be another useful and unique one for you. On this, we've also got the fixture ticker that I've just created. Good, average, bad for the fixture, and that's based upon whether the defense they're playing against is good, average, or bad, away or at home, right? So those are all the things explained. I also do have on that spreadsheet, you can download the amount of preseason goals and assists and minutes preseason, but it doesn't matter too much. If anyone remembers Andrea Bocelli of Wigan Athletic, I think he got like 5 or 6 goals in preseason and then didn't score until Christmas when everyone got him in FPL a long time ago. That was, I think, maybe 2010, 2011. Okay, so let's move on to Haaland then. Like I said, you can only have one or the other. You can't have Salah and Haaland. If you go with him and he smashes it and Salah falters, you're going to be doing very, very well. But on paper, based upon how this game functions, not based upon Haaland versus Salah as players, but based upon how this game functions, Haaland is too expensive and positionally just weaker than Salah in the game. Okay? Next up then is the Swedish man, Gyökeres. So I've put an asterisk next to the players who I've pulled stats either from a separate league or from a separate season. So Gyökeres is from his sporting season in the Portuguese league last year. Ekatike is from the Bundesliga, the German league, last year. Richarlison is from the Premier League, but the season before, because he didn't have too many minutes last season. And then finally, Perot, obviously from the Championship, those minutes. But everyone else are from the previous Premier League season. So when you see an asterisk next to the name, if you see their stats are very good, remember those are going to fall off almost certainly because it's going to the Premier League, the most competitive league in the world. The stats almost always fall off. It's very, very rare that they ever go up, especially from the leagues they've come from. Like we can expect Joe Perot to have a big fall off. Rich Harlison maybe isn't firing as well as he did the season 2 seasons ago. His confidence won't be as high. Ekitike come from the Bundesliga. Regularly, people fall off after that one. It's only Haaland that's really the exception. And Gyökeres, again, it's rare that players come from the Portuguese league and do well. I can only think of Bruno Fernandes that's actually come in and improved or maintained or gotten better. Like you look at Darwin Núñez, for example. So yeah, that explains the asterisks. So if you're thinking, oh, Gyökeres looks like a nailed-on pick because of the stats, those are from a different league. I will say though that these are non-penalty, right? So if you're thinking, oh, but these are penalties involved in this, they're not. No. So his stats are still really, really impressive. I think what actually lets him down isn't necessarily his ability to convert that into Premier League goals and assists. It's actually his minutes, because there's no way that Kai Havertz isn't going to be eating his minutes. What he could do, Arteta, I'm not a fan of Arteta at all. Anyway, what he could do, just some of the stuff that's gone on behind the scenes with Arsenal, I just don't think he handled it well. Anyway, you save that for the other video. Havertz is going to nick minutes from him. What Arteta could do is play Havertz in the midfield free, but since they've signed Zubimendi and they have Rice and they have Odegaard, it's very unlikely that happens, especially with Norgard there as well now. So he's going to steal minutes from Gyökeres. In the preseason, he also did that as well. So as a result, Gyökeres probably, if I had to predict, is going to get 65 to 70 minutes in the opening couple games. For fitness reasons and for competition reasons. I just can't see Havertz not getting minutes. He already looked unhappy when he scored in the preseason, Havertz. It was when he celebrated, it was like he looked down and depressed and then was like, oh, I need to look happy for the cameras, and then just suddenly like celebrated. So you can tell if Arteta wants to keep Havertz happy, he's going to have to give him minutes. The other thing about Gyökeres is penalties. There's effectively 3 different penalty takers for Arsenal: Odegaard, Saka, and Gyökeres now. In my opinion, Gyökeres is probably the best penalty taker of the 3 of them, but is he going to instantly take them off Golden Boy Saka? I don't think so, unless Gyökeres hasn't scored yet. If Gyökeres hasn't scored yet, I think Saka will give him a penalty. That doesn't mean he'll stay on penalty. So that's why there's a question mark next to pens. So yeah, he's quite expensive given all those things that are up in the air. If Havertz wasn't a factor, I think he would be he already is a hugely popular pick, but a more popular pick amongst the more skilled FPL managers, let's say. Let's move on to Ollie Watkins, and boy oh boy, am I disappointed that Cunha and Shesko were signed instead of him, because I think he's a lot better person than Cunha. I mean, who isn't, to be fair? And also Watkins, he's just so lethal as well. Yeah, anyway, we're going off piste here. He's very popular and for good reason. He should be on penalties, although he's not very good at them. He should be getting 80 plus minutes every game. With a lack of competition there at top, and the strength of the teams that Villa play in that opening 4, I don't see why Emery would be wanting to bring him off, at least until the Champions League starts. Europe starts. So I think he might just about be the better pick than Gyökeres, but Gyökeres might have the highest ceiling in those easy fixtures. It just depends on minutes for him. So at the minute, you'd probably want to go with Watkins, but at the same time, as soon as the deadline turned over, it'd read Leeds at home for Gyökeres and Brentford away for Watkins. So yeah, they're both priced well, I think. I think those 2 are priced well, and as a result, they're considerations for many people. Someone who I don't think is priced well is Ekitike. of course, moved from the Bundesliga to Liverpool for a lot of money, actually more than Shesko, as far as I'm aware. Um, it's a really good fixture to start the season. Bournemouth have been completely gutted at the back. A lot of their sales there are actually really good sales, in my opinion. Like, for example, Kepa is on big wages. I don't think he's that very good. He's quite a petulant individual. Kerkez kind of came out and said some bad stuff. Or not bad stuff, but allegedly some like, sort of disrespectful stuff that the Bournemouth fans weren't happy about after the move or even before the move. I can't remember. Allegedly. Um, Howson is the one that will be the big loss. They're not gonna replace him, and you can't fault him for going to Barcelona. I think the Zabani sale is really good for them. I think that the amount of money they're getting for him is definitely worth it for Bournemouth. But what it means is that it's basically Senesi versus the world at the back for Bournemouth. So as a result, you do kind of want to target that defense. It looks weak. It looks inexperienced. And where there is experience there, there's kind of not enough legs maybe for the Premier League. So it does look like a really good fixture, but why would you pay 8.5 million for Ekatike when you could pay 8 for Bowen, when you could play 7.5 for Mateta, when you could pay 9 for Watkins? He's priced incorrectly, in my opinion. They should have priced him 7.5 or 8 at the most, somewhere in that range. Because at that price, even without petulant Isak signing, that's still too much money, isn't it? Because why would you go him over Hakpo? Why would you the slumlord Hakpo allegedly? Why would you go him over Verts at 9 million? Sorry, at 8.5 million. Do you know what I mean? Verts is pretty much a nailed on and also had better numbers and is playing a better position in FPL. So it's kind of one of those where, yeah, if he continues to start every game and he gets 70 plus minutes every game, he could be like sort of a one of three you go with from Liverpool. But there's no chance you would want him over Salah or over Verts, right? So other things to consider there are, of course, his minutes. If you look at his preseason minutes, they aren't very good. And yes, he's been starting, but you'd expect Liverpool to sign another player before the window shuts in that forward line, and then he's going to lose more minutes. Not a very good pick, but a viable pick. On the other end of the spectrum is former Hull City man Jared Bowen, and husband to Danny Dyer's daughter, I think. Who's also called Danny Dyer, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, I think if Bowen had pens, that would be amazing. He probably is priced just about right. I think if he was 7.5, everyone would have him. Now he's 8 and also classed as a forward. It makes it more difficult. Personally, I don't quite understand why he's classified as a forward. Um, I mean, he's not a striker. He plays there because West Ham have needed him there. You could easily see them play him off the wing and play Wilson and Fulkrug up front, or play just Wilson up front and Bowen in off one of the wings or something like that. So I think it's a bit of an odd one to move him into the striker position. Maybe it was done out of the necessity that there just aren't many strikers to pick from, as you can see, in the game at the minute. He's a fantastic pick. I think it's more so, are you happy spending 8 million on that bracket? And then also, after that game's out of the way, say if he blanks against Sunderland, which I don't think he will. If he blanks against Sunderland, it's a London derby against Chelsea, which both teams won't want to lose. Then a trip to Forest, which is tough, because if you look at their team now, it's just about defending. Then it's another London derby against Tottenham. So you're really kind of gambling on, well, not gambling, it's not a gamble to go with Jared Bowen against a terrible side, but you're really kind of hoping that he goes off in that first game, because after that, you probably would want anyone else, right? Well, not anyone else, but you know what I mean. You could find more value elsewhere. If you're looking to just brick a position and just be like, yep, just have that player and have him for a long time, Jared Bowen's, you can't go wrong with it, can you? João Pedro, so many petulant Premier League players, isn't it? They're so out of touch with real life. Anyway, João Pedro, another one who he threw a punch at someone, didn't he, in like a nothing game and didn't get punished for it. Anyway, I mean, with the it's crazy. Anyway, João Pedro for Chelsea. Um, Interestingly, if you look at the stats here, and it's first I'm going to bring up stats because I feel as though you can see the stats. You don't have to have me just explain them to you. But it's the first one if you download that spreadsheet in the Patreon for free that the stats are rubbish, right? They're actually one of the weakest set of stats from all the starting forwards here. In contrast to that, though, and it pains me to say this, it does with sort of like Cunha, for example. He does have good pedigree. He is obviously a good player, as much as he's dislikable. But he is a very good player, and you sort of think that the numbers you're seeing there on screen, that's sort of his low floor for numbers, right? What is worrying, in addition to the numbers from last season, is the fact he's going to lose penalties because Cole Palmer is not giving him penalties, and Cole Palmer's very likely not getting substituted either. By the time the game Cole Palmer gets substituted, Pedro's already hitting the showers because Rory Delap's son's coming on, right? So, in addition to that, Rory Delap's son's going to be playing the last 20 to 30 minutes of pretty much every game. Maybe when it gets to Champions League season, they'll do sort of a bit more of a heavy rotation too. Is he worth the money? Possibly. If you could guarantee 70, 75 plus minutes every game, I think so. But he's losing penalties, his stats aren't good, and his minutes are going to be bad unless Delap takes an injury or something happens when it comes to Champions League where they have lots of two set squads. I should save this for my other video. Maybe I'll go into a bit longer. But Maresca getting nominated for Ballon d'Or Manager of the Year or whatever. I know that's a nonsense award anyway. When he had spent like over $1 billion and had literally 2 first teams playing and won the, it's ridiculous. Anyway, Pedro, I'll save that for the other video. So he's a weird pick, Pedro, because if he was cheaper than 7.5, you'd be like, oh, just go for it, right? It's worth the money. But look at the players you're foregoing for Pedro. You're foregoing Bowen, who has Sunderland and is nailed on for 90. So you're getting 50% more minutes, if not more, because of the amount of added time nowadays. And a better fixture for only $500,000 more. No risk of rotation. You could have Mateta, who definitely get more minutes, might have penalties, and is kind of always saw the end point of that attack. Whilst, Palmer will be on the end of a lot of finishes for Chelsea. He is one of the most popular picks in the game for a reason, João Pedro. And I do think they've priced him well enough that he is that much of a consideration. Time will tell as to how his minutes play out. If he gets enough minutes, he's going to score goals. You wonder whether the drop in the losing penalties is what would you call it? His attitude problems, they might arise and result in disciplinary issues. The minutes, there's a lot of elements there that aren't good, and a lot of people who've watched preseason and the Mickey Mouse World Cup saw those goals he scored. And just looking at my stats now, 5 goals in 249 minutes of preseason, including Mickey Mouse Club World Cup. It's really good, but again, it's preseason. You can't really take too much from preseason stats. It's more so the minutes you're looking at. Also, Ollie Watkins, 5 goals, 1 assist in 282 minutes. Just put that in there. And Haaland, 4 goals, 1 assist in 325 minutes. All these numbers are in the spreadsheet anyway. If I've missed any others, yeah, I think you could do like a 15-20 minute video chatting about João Pedro, couldn't you? Really. I think the fixtures are some of the best, as you can see. There's no bad fixtures for them. Chelsea at home, can score decently against anyone. This is a Chelsea side, though, where we haven't seen them be consistent since the days of Thomas Tuchel, which has been how many managers ago now? 4 managers ago. What 1.2 billion ago? So the consistency is a worry with Chelsea, and there's a lot of elements that are up in the air for João Pedro. If he gets the minutes and he stops acting like a child, then there's no reason for him not to be one of the top scoring forwards in the game at the end of the season. But I think he'll get rotated a lot And much like when Jackson lost a lot of minutes last season and also had disciplinary issues, what's not to say it'll happen with João Pedro too. Because as much as people hate on Nicholas Jackson, he does have disciplinary issues also. Remember when he tried to steal that penalty from Palmer and Madueke also attitude issue? What is it with Premier League players? Football is being out of touch with reality and not very self-aware, right? Um, what's to stop that happening again with another Chelsea attacker? Probably little to stop that, considering he was already like that at Brighton. Um, is he a bad pick? No, he's definitely not a bad pick. He's one of the best forward picks, but there's a lot to be questioned with that one. He's not your Ollie Watkins or Bowen, is he? He's sort of, in many ways, Gyökeres doesn't have any attitude issues, but in many ways, the sort of mid-tier Gyökeres where you're just not sure on the minutes, but you do know he has the quality in front of goal. And the form is there pre-season. Christopher Wood, disappointed in his reaction to the Chris Wood song. He was very apathetic over his reaction. I think he's been in the Premier League since 2008. I think Chris Wood, which is insane. He's after being such a good pick for the last season and a half. Now it looks like he's got real competition for the first time. And one of you couldn't really provide much competition because he couldn't stay fit enough, and then Chris Wood was just banging him in every week. As you can see, even his returns last season still were better than what were expected. So he's doing very, very well, and he is on pens. But if you look at preseason minutes and look at the addition of Jesus now, yeah, it makes him one of the weaker sort of 7.5 million bracket picks. But I'm not going to talk anyone out of it because he's got pedigree, he's got sort of season and a half long form, he's got three fixtures where he could do well in. But Forest have just not been on it in preseason. One goal in 330 minutes for Chrissy Wood. Um, Not for me, from the Woodster, from Big Woody. All right, JP Mateta. Congrats to him on getting rid of the mustache, by the way. I don't think it suited him. Anyway, big JP Mateta. Yeah, there's nothing not to like about the JP Mateta pick. Arguably, he's the safest 7.5 mil pick in the game. Is he going to have the opportunities though? Look at the opening three fixtures. Those are three sides where you don't expect them to be shipping loads of chances and loads of goals. Forest need to defend to win at the minute. Villa away is not an easy place to go. Villa Park and score. Not against Good Evening, Emery. And then Chelsea away game week 1. But I mean, Palace can beat any big side. Are Chelsea a big side at the minute? Any big side on their day. As you saw with the Community Shield win, and Mateta, of course, scored a penalty in that. I don't necessarily think it means he's definitely on penalties always. There might be an occasional time that Eze gets some. If I had to predict, I'd say it's maybe 65 to 35 Mateta to Eze for the swing. What I will say for Mateta, he's a good scouting one whereby game week 4, a lot of people want to jump on him for that Sunderland at home game. And like Palace's fixtures turn a bit better. But again, much like Bowen with Mateta, if you just want someone that you put him in your team, Premier League pedigree, you know he's going to perform, you just leave him there, good minutes, possibly penalties. What's not to like again. Also, preseason 5 goals, 1 assist, 350 minutes for JP. Evan Nilsson covered in tattoos. Evan Nilsson. Good football, as we've mentioned many a time on this channel. But the fixtures and Bournemouth's lack of recruitment and losses in the summer makes it a tough one. He's also, I think he had a precautionary rest at some point recently too. But I think it was just I think Bournemouth have got a player called Poopy Junior or Kepri Junior, something like Poopy Junior or something, or Pepe Junior. Kepi Junior. Poopy Junior sounds better anyway. Poopy Junior. They sort of trialed him in the Bournemouth attack just to see if he does well. I learned that from Neil Grover. Is it Neil Glover or Neil Grover? But if Neil's listening, shout outs to you. Your stuff with James of Planet FPL was very good. But Neil was saying how, they were just trialing Poopy Jr. out. Evan Nilsson's obviously the star one. He, he's one of the star players for Bournemouth, and he's not a bad pick, is he? And he's priced really well. I think he's one of the best priced forwards in terms of making it tempting enough, but not make. Because if he was 6.5, everyone would have him, right? But since he's 7 and has bad fixtures, it's like, I don't know. So I think he's a really, really strong option when their fixtures turn. The issue is that game week 1 fixture. Maybe if people are thinking of, I think one scenario would be if you're going to bench boost later, and you have Evan Nilsson game week 1, you could bench him game week 1, save him for later, and then do your bench boost later and have a strong squad that has Evan Nilsson for the good run of fixtures. Because after game week 1, Wolves at home, Spursy away, Brighton at home is really, really nice. Another issue for them is Patrick Kluivert's son is injured at the minute. He's always injured, isn't he, man? Patrick Kluivert's son is injured at the minute, so though that means Evan Nilsson will be on pens while he's away, also means it's a lot easier to mark Bournemouth out of the game because all you've got to mark is Evan Nilsson and Potshot Merchant Semenyo out of the game, and they haven't got much of an attack after that. So yeah, very interesting one given the price, but the first fixtures are rubbish. This one here is one where I was like, I'd already, if those of you follow me on socials, so I posted the spreadsheet on Patreon already. Again, it's free on Patreon. This the spreadsheet. And I was thinking like, but for the video, should I take him out now? Because Thomas Frank has come out and said that Solanke is available to play in another Mickey Mouse. It's less of a Mickey Mouse Cup than the Club World Cup. It's the UEFA Super Cup, which is more legit, more historic, but still a Mickey Mouse Cup. The Mickey Mouse Super Cup, Solanke is picked as part of the squad. Does that mean he'll get minutes? I don't know, because he also said in the same breath that Udogie is closer to being more like fitter and more available than Solanke. So if there's another player in the squad who's also been unfit and injured is closer to selection than Solanke, it means Richarlison might start. So I don't think you can start with either of them, and I kind of think that if Solanke's injury doesn't get better, then Richarlison might be an option. But it sounds like it's getting better, and by the time you're watching this video, Solanke might have even started in the Super Cup, to be honest with you. So I kind of left it in. I left Richarlison in with the thoughts of, Solanke's only 1 mil more, and you'll be able to see the fixtures and compare them. Richarlison stats are really good from past two seasons actually, and Solanke stats are more so aligned with somewhere between Mateta's and Bowen's, somewhere between those sorts of stats from my memory. So it really depends upon the news. The reason I left it in, like I said, is because you can sort of see those fixtures if Solanke becomes fit by the time this video goes out or by the time of the deadline. You can kind of compare, right? So I just left them in for that sake. I wouldn't go there currently because of the uncertainty. That's the one pick in this video where maybe people could argue it's just not viable. And probably it's just better to go with Sarr in midfield for Spursy. A strong pick, and one you just can't go wrong with. Yeah, you just can't go wrong with this pick. In my mind, he should be on penalties. That new fella, is it Amio? I don't know. He's like a box-to-box mid, isn't he? Might take pens. It's odd to me if they don't let Larson take penalties, because to me, if you've got two players who are very similar level of penalty taker, but one is your goal scorer, you want him to be firing, right? If one is better than the other, obviously you would just let the other one take it. But my assumption is they might let Larson take them now. Now Cunha's gone. So that's not for certain, and so you could change that to a question mark. But what is really good about him is his minutes are going to be great. He's not got much competition. I think the fella who's competition for him is he from Georgia? He's from the same. I think he's from the same nation as K Baradona, um, for Australia. But yeah, I don't. He's not got much competition in that position now. Um, Wang won't be playing much, will he? So I think Kwang's a good player, but I don't think he's going to be playing much. He would take penalties as well, but again, it looks like Larson will be playing more, and as a result, might be favoured there. Anyway, I'm going off piece talking more so about penalties. If you watch him from open play and you watched him last season, he's a legitimate threat. And with and without Cunha, he was still very good as a pick. So I think the pricing is perfect for him. Um, and I think he is maybe one of the nicest budget bracket, but you could also argue he's the most expensive of the budget bracket as well. Um, the stats don't look incredible, but now with Cunha gone, you would expect they will sort of end the chances will end up with him more, even with Nori gone as well. It's just a question of can they create for him. Um, I think that if they do create for him, he'll have a really good season. If they can't get the ball in front of him, it's going to be rough for Wolves generally. It's going to be a rough season for him because I don't think they've recruited that well, and they've obviously sold their two best players. But to be fair, the money they got for Cunha, given his attitude issues, um, I don't know if you can just call it attitude issues. He's been a poor human, as in like not very good to people on multiple occasions. Attitude issues would be like a burst of emotion, but it's too often for Cunha to call it like a one-off. Anyway, Larson, strong pick. The issue with him, I think if he had good fixtures, you'd see most people across social media and the FPL sphere have him in their team. The issue with him is the fixtures are a little nasty, right? Man City looking good. So they won't have Rodri for that game, and it's a home fixture for Wolves, so not too bad. And Wolves tend to do decently against Man City. Bournemouth's not a bad fixture, but it is away. Everton at home, not too bad. Newcastle away, very tough. So maybe two good fixtures there, sandwiched between two bad fixtures. Again, maybe much like an Evan Nilsson, where if you just setting and forgetting, good pick. Another pick, which is quite nice, is the man who'll be replacing Visser, as Mark likes to call him, up front for Brentford in that number 9 position. Thiago. His stats, as you can see, not incredible. And they're not from a big data set, but he should be playing a lot of game time. I think more so for him, it's getting up to match fitness to be able to play 90 minutes every week, rather than the fact that the manager would want to bring him off. Also, is it Keith Andrews the same former Hull City player, Keith Andrews? Because if it is, I don't know if any of you watch Keith Andrews play, but his sort of like mannerisms and his technique were very unique to him. You should go and watch some clips of him. It was like I remember watching him for Hull City, if it is the same Keith Andrews, and being like, he hits the ball very strangely. I know strangely might sound offensive. I don't mean like that. He hits the ball in a very like unique manner. Have you ever seen Moneyball, where they've got like Chad Hadberg, not Chad Hadberg, Chad something or other, and he says he like throws the ball funny, but he's really effective at it. It felt like Keith Andrews. Anyway, I don't know. It probably is the same Keith Andrews. But I digress. If you can get Thiago up to match fitness and firing, they might be okay. It's definitely just a season of transition for Brentford. I think they'll be looking to just not get relegated, in my opinion, given how much they've been gutted and Vissa's petulance and throwing his toys out the pram. Boomo leaving, Norgard leaving, Flecken leaving. Also has a million tattoos, Flecken. To Bayer Leverkusen. So really good one to scout this one. I would kind of prefer someone like a Larson or even a Fulkrug to start the season. The Gap, the German man up front, the Gap, Fulkrug. Obviously, same fixtures as former Hull City man Jared Bowen, but 2 million less. And Fulkrug is a goal scorer. For those of you who watch the Bundesliga or haven't watched the Bundesliga, he is a goal scorer, and he does sort of finish moves in a team, which is what you want in FPL. There's been picks over the years, like your Tyler Dibbling. He sounds like a former member of N-Dubs, doesn't he, Tyler Dibbling? Tyler Dibbling, your Tyler Dibblings, your recent Jack Grealish types, not your Aston Villa Jack Grealish types, but your Man City Jack Grealish types, your Chelsea Williams, those sort of picks where they look really good, but do they actually have any end product? It's the opposite way around with the gap with Fulkrug, where very like sort of brute force throwback type footballer, but the end product and actual output, which is what we actually care about in FPL and also in results for football as well, is actually pretty decent. It's just whether Graham Potter. I don't know why I find Graham Potter. Anyway, Graham Potter. I'm just thinking of Darren Fowler's impression of Graham Potter. You should watch it. Um, as to whether Graham Potter is going to play him week in week out for 85 plus minutes. I think if he can get them to having a big man little man partnership up front, Bowen and Fulkrug, then West Ham will survive the season. If they can't, then it's going to be very rough. I'm shocked that a bigger team didn't come in for Bowen and just offer him loads of cash. I don't quite understand why a Manchester United, for example, would go for Cunha, who has major personality flaws and disciplinary issues, versus Bowen, is very odd to me. But maybe it's a cash thing. Maybe Bowen would have cost 20, 30 mil more. I don't know. But the fact that a bigger team hasn't come in for Bowen, shocking to me. Yeah, I know he was linked to Liverpool as well in past seasons. But Fulkrug just depends if he can keep Callum Wilson out the team too. That's another thing. Can he keep Callum Wilson out the team? And that also makes me think, if he plays Fulkrug and Wilson up front and Bowen's then not playing up front, then they've classified Bowen as a forward when he only played there last season out of necessity, not because he is a forward. And then this season he might not even be playing there. So that's why I don't know if I don't personally agree with putting Bowen as a forward. I think it makes the game a little less fun. D Welbs, Danny Welbeck, still in the still in the game, still in the Premier League. Would be a nice pick if his minutes were better. I think a lot of people picked him thinking that he's going to be playing 85, 90 minutes now that João Pedro has gone to Chelsea. But I don't think that's going to be quite the case. He should be on pen still. And in pre-season, he's got 4 goals in 280 minutes compared to Fulkrug's 3 goals in 320 minutes, for example. But I don't know if he's going to get. I don't know if he's going to get good minutes. And I almost called him Andy Hessenthaler then. Hasselhuttel? Is that the Southampton's manager? There's too many managers with that sort of name. The Brighton manager, Hertzler. The Brighton manager, Hertzler. 3 different managers there with a H. I think they're all German as well, weren't they? Too weird with his rotation, and Rutter might play up front as well. So I don't think that I'd be going with Danny Welbeck as a pick. If we see him get 80 plus minutes every game week, then suddenly becomes a legit option at 5.5 for people just wanting to save money in the forward bracket for a penalty taker for a decent side. But I just don't think he's that great of a pick currently. Speaking of not that great of a pick currently, Pirro. I keep wanting to call him Pires, but Pirro. Asterisk, obviously, because there's the championship stats. Not on penalties, despite playing the forward role for Leeds. I think it's a defender who takes pens for them. I think it's one of their centre backs, if I'm not mistaken. It really looks like Leeds are going to sign a forward from the Italian league. They were in for Muniz, but now it sounds like they're going for someone from the Italian league. So Pirro might play game week 1. I think if they didn't sign anyone interesting to start with, for people who bench boosting or just need someone cheap. But given you have like Fulkrug, Thiago, Larson, Beto, who are going to start and play, seems like one that isn't great for keeping in your squad long term, unfortunately. This is what I'm talking about. The forward bracket is so narrow. And then last man here is Beto, who absolutely tanked my team at the end of the season. So I've been kind of burnt by him already. Has the fixtures. And as you can see, good percentage of preseason minutes. You'd imagine that Everton would want to bring in another forward. You wouldn't be surprised if they did before the end of the close of the window. Stats aren't bad, but kind of fell off last season right towards the end. I experienced that personally. Doesn't look bad on the pitch when you watch him, but like gets in good positions. But does he finish as well as the other players? Does he get as many chances? Not really. Um, yeah, so he's a good pick in the 5.5 bracket. If I had to pick anyone from the 5.5 bracket right now, it would be Beto. Um, but I don't know if you'd be picking him and thinking he's going to score a million goals, right? You'd be picking him and just hoping for, a return some sort of return every 2.5, 3 games. Um, Again, though, he's still possibly the best pick of that 5.5 bunch. Joe Pirro, actually, 4 goals in 261 preseason minutes. Okay. That is it from me for this video. I don't know how long it went on for. I actually didn't even check if I pressed record, but luckily I did there. Um, yeah, I hope you've had a good summer. I haven't posted. If you wanna support all, I have a Patreon, I have a Ko-fi. You can join on YouTube memberships. I can't promise anything on the Patreon or YouTube memberships with regards to content yet. There is free stuff on there already, but with regards to like pay members on there, um, I'll try and do some sort of unfiltered guides where I give my sort of recommendations, bam, 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 who I'm considering for each position. I might even try and do a few sort of like scuffed podcasts with a few folks. So yeah, there might be some stuff on there, or you might just want to join just to support. It's entirely up to you. There is some free stuff on the Patreon too. As I said, the spreadsheets I'll put on there. Other ways to support. There's Throne as well. I have my Throne. Um, and yeah, if you want to support in other ways, liking, commenting, subscribing, notice on, sharing, all that good stuff helps out. With regards to like personal updates, uh, loads of changes in life at the minute. So in addition to my arm, so it's been kind of rough. So I just haven't. That's why I haven't uploaded yet, and that's why it's like my first video 3 days before the deadline. Um, like lots of stuff going on and changes. I go and see it literally. What time is it? Yeah, 12 hours from this video. I travel 3 hours to um see a surgeon for my surgery or a potential surgeon for my surgery, and then in 2 weeks' time, I travel to Toronto to see another surgeon. Um, who wants to take me on for my surgery as well. But I'm just going to see who gives me the best prognosis or the best chance of um, reverting what I'm going through, getting my life back. But there's no guarantee to it. I've been told it's between like a 50 to 80% chance of success, and it could also get worse. Um, yeah, so that's why there's not as much data on screen either, because my left arm, I'm just icing it right now. I don't know if you can see it. I'm literally just icing it as we speak. Um, yeah, I just can barely do anything using it. Uh, it's just in like constant pain all the time. Like it's been between a 6 to a 9 out of 10 throughout the summer. And since the surgery too, and it just got progressively worse. Um, so hopefully we can get this surgery done soon. I really appreciate everyone that donated to the fundraiser on what's the platform called? GoFundMe. Last at the end of last season. It's very, very nice of you. The money from that went straight towards consults, and yeah, it went straight towards consults. Anything else I get will go towards the cost for travel to see these two surgeons. Um, yeah, so I really appreciate it. It's very selfless of you guys. Yeah, and like I said, I've got other stuff going on as well that's made it like imagine that every part of your life is changing. Um, and also like you're not sure where your health's gonna be. Um, that's kind of where I'm at with everything at the minute. And for those of you new to like understanding what it is, it's called. Well, I had a failed ulnar nerve decompression and a failed ulnar nerve transposition, which means that my left arm is just in constant pain between like a 6 to 9 out of 10 every day, all the time. So though I have strength in it and can move it, it just feels like it's on fire when you do with it, anything. So I can't play sport anymore. I can't run. I can't lift weights. Technically, I can type with it, but I mean it burns it up to do that. So I try and limit it as possible. I can still move it and use it, but pain's just ridiculous. So I'm on meds for it as well, like neuropathic meds, but they don't do much. And I also get a hydrodissection every 3 to 4 weeks for it as well, which is like where my sports doctor, who she's great, um, they inject it with saline and dextrose, separate the nerve from where it is kinked in the wrong position, and being trapped by scarring and tissue and bone and muscle and whatever else is causing it. So it gives me sort of like a reduction in pain from like maybe a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 all the time to like a 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10 all the time. So it gives me relief for like 2 weeks, but then it like reverts back. I was saying to the doctor today, I'm kind of like that robot. Have you seen that video of the robot where it's pushing oil, bringing oil towards itself to survive, but then as it's doing it, it it also loses oil out the back. So it has to keep doing it, otherwise it just gets worse and worse. I'm like that robot at the minute. So running on fumes a lot of the time. So yeah, and like everything, other parts of life are just sort of up in the air. So that's why I just haven't uploaded, to be honest with you. But I was gonna do like a smaller form of like the data and spreadsheet stuff just for myself, my own analysis for the new season. So I thought, why not share it still as well? So I can't promise that my videos will be as detailed or as regular, but I'll do what I can when I can with it. I'm really hoping that the surgery is going to be happening. Um, I see the first surgeon tomorrow, and then travel to Toronto, fly to Toronto in 2 weeks' time to see the second surgeon. There's no order of them; that's just the order I'm seeing him. The other surgeon. Um, so yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping to get the surgery sometime in September would be amazing. But it's literally been a year since the last surgery, and my conditions just got worse and worse and worse. So really need it soon, and hopefully one of them can squeeze me in soon. And it depends on their prognosis as well. Like I only want to go with them if they have good prognosis and chance of outcome. So we'll see what they say because they haven't given me a percentage. Those two surgeons haven't given me a percentage outcome chance. A lot of the other surgeons have, but I'm waiting till I see those two in person to find out. So we'll go from there. Um, yeah. So I don't know what will happen in September with regards to the visit. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Any other closing thoughts? I'll try and get a midfielder and defender video out. Those ones are going to take longer because I'm going to do defensive contribution ones, which I do think are very interesting. So what will probably happen after this video is I'll start working on the spreadsheet for the midfielders and then stick that on the Patreon for free. And then I'm going to eat, sleep, travel 3 hours for that to a separate city to see them meet that surgeon 3 hours back, and then maybe record the midfield video then, or maybe try and do it before and just do it tonight as well. But we'll see. That's kind of my plan. But yeah, I've waffled on for way too long on the personal updates because you're watching an FPL video on YouTube, right? Who cares about the personal update stuff? But I did want to share just because I know there's a number of you that were asking about it and that have supported me and that have cared. So I really, really appreciate it and didn't want to leave you in the dark with it. But that's just kind of how it's been with no filter really with it. Yeah, there's been lots of ups and downs, more downs with the surgery stuff, and at the very least, I might be able to the money that was raised from the GoFundMe, for example, just went straight to the consult in America, with a particular surgeon who it would cost too much for. And then anything left over is just going to go towards flights for Toronto. But hopefully these two surgeons in Canada can do it for free for me. But if not and it fails, then it would cost probably if it fails and no one can do it in Canada, then it would cost 15 to 20K Canadian. And there's only 3 surgeons of the 40 or 50 I've spoken to that would have another shot at it. So we're getting into kind of like a range of just need to get it right. Yeah. So decisions to be made and a lot of things going down. But I just wanted to put the updates out. Also, I also kind of feel as though when I've been like listening to other people's stuff in the FPL community, it's more interesting when they share the personal stuff or where they talk about real stuff rather than just being like, oh, it's who's got the best def count. Salah's a good pick. You know what I mean? So, yeah, maybe my situation as well will make you feel good about your day to day, right? So maybe that's a plus side of this personal update. You'll be thinking, at least I'm not in Josh's position. So, yeah, I'm still like in decent spirits about it as well, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I'll do what I can with the videos. This has gone way too long with regards to personal updates. I've overshared as usual. But all the best here. Be an interesting season. Also, do you know what? I was gutted that I didn't win that Fan Team Unlimited. I was first for 30 game weeks and then just lost it in like the past 3 or 4 weeks. I even brought in Semenyo on the last day and still ended up finishing, I think, 7th after I was first from like game week 5 to like game week 32 or something. But that would have really helped with surgery costs and consults, I tell you. And just helping me with life around surgery. But what can you do? You know, how to end the video. Next up will be the midfielder spreadsheet, and next up after that should be the midfielder recommendation video. But I wish you well. Do something enjoyable with your week. Do something fulfilling and meaningful with your week. Help someone out in your local community or something. I don't know. Do something fulfilling. And it's going to be a cracker of a new season, I think, for FPL because there'll be a lot of changes. Do you know what I wish? I wish we could remove AI teams from the game. That would be fantastic. Anyway, I will see you in the next video. Gone on way too long. Goodbye. Thank you. See you in the midfield one.